You're listening to the Industry Alchemist podcast. The definition of alchemy is a seemingly magical process of transformation or creation. This podcast exists to hear the stories of entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders doing just that in their industry. We hear about the journey of the brave souls carving a new path, moving their industry and our lives forward in a seemingly magical way. This episode is brought to you by OfficeChief.com. Office Chief exists to make moving your office easy and painless. Moving an office can be a big hassle. On top of running your company, you're thrown into having to figure out what to do. Hire space planners, furniture companies, movers, IT consultants, the list goes on. It only takes 2 minutes to create a profile, and Office Chief gives you a step-by-step action plan and connects you with the top vendors in your market. Moving your office? Log on to OfficeChief.com and make it easy. I'm your host, Matt Brower, co-founder and managing broker of Column Commercial Partners, helping companies save money on their real estate. I'm also founder and CEO of OfficeChief.com, an online resource for businesses moving their office or updating their space.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Industry Alchemist podcast. I'm your host, Matt Brower. Our guest today is a force in the technology and innovation movement, both in Colorado and nationally. After graduating from DU, he quickly became a leader in this community. He co-founded Denver Startup Week and the Commons on Champa, served as Chief Innovation Officer for the state of Colorado under Governor Hickenlooper. He's co-chairman of Club Civico, and he's also co-founder of the Goodwood Club. He also serves as on the board of directors for the National Cybersecurity Center, Colorado Technology Association, and Mile High United Way. On top of all that, he's a devoted husband, a father of 3, and 3.5 years ago, he decided to take on the role of CEO at Highwing. Highwing is the first open data platform for commercial insurance. I'm very excited to have Erik Mitisek here with us to learn more about him, his journey, and his passions. So thank you so much for being here, Erik.
Matt, absolute pleasure, and thank you for all that you do in our community. It's been so fun to watch you build Column Commercial and your work in the city, and really excited to sit down and have an awesome chat today.
Thank you. So I want to start. I actually am late to the game in watching or listening to Joe Rogan podcasts. A couple days ago, I watched the one of the episodes, and he asked, the Tesla, his name's escaped me right now.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk. He asked him, and I literally was going to ask you the same thing. That's how I want to start. How in the world do you manage your time to be able to take on all that you take on and have it all work?
You know, it's time's the only thing we have. And so, you know, I look at my day every day. I often say that everything in my life, with the exception of my marriage, is a startup. Like, it's wild, it's topsy, it's turvy, it's unpredictable, including raising my kids. And, you know, I think that I learned early on that, you know, in life, you've got kind of 2 types of balls. You've got, you know, those that bounce and those that break. And every single day I have balls that bounce, that you know, you're moving fast and you're trying to make the most of your time that you can, you know, work through and recover and make great. The magic is to make sure that the ones that are glass, that you get them done, you hold them tightly
without dropping them,
and you don't drop them,
yeah.
And you keep moving forward. And so for me, I just, you know, I've got a penchant to be able to give as much as I possibly can while I'm here on Earth. And I feel blessed to be involved in the organizations and the companies and, you know, the folks I get to interact with every day. And so I just am a sponge for being able to hang out with awesome humans and help where I can.
That's great. How old are your kids, by the way?
I've got 3 amazing kids, all under the age of 10.
Oh my goodness.
2 boys and a little girl.
Wow. So you're probably in the throes of they're getting into sports, and I'm sure your wife is a great partner to kind of help manage the.
Yeah, I feel so blessed. I mean, obviously, I think in life, just whether it's business or whether it's at home, your partnerships matter. And I've been really blessed. Have an incredible wife, an incredible partner, and building a great life together. And yeah, our kids are just on the cusp of Doing a lot of sports. I think when they're young, just like entrepreneurship, you try one of everything, and then you kind of hope to see where their interests and their skills and their passions start to lie, and you kind of triple down. And we're kind of right at that cusp where my sons are starting to realize some sports that they want to be great at, and some of the things they didn't enjoy, we're letting those seasons fly by and no longer signing up for it. So it's a lot of fun.
Got to give it a try and see. Yeah. So it's clear to everyone that everyone that knows you, you have the huge passion for technology, innovation, moving things forward. This is the exact reason why this podcast exists. I love hearing these stories.
Thank you.
When did you? So you graduated from DU. When did you really start to grow this passion for technology, innovation? To where you really wanted to be involved in the level that you're at?
Out of undergrad, I graduated and I spent the first 2 years working as an investment banker in a structured finance practice at KPMG, and so I had a finance degree, a marketing degree, I had a business in college that was entrepreneurial, and so I'd always been focused on trying to figure out how to make a buck. And I thought that finance was a path for me to do that. I had some friends that had gone investment banking, and I thought that was a really, really great path for me. What I realized is that, as I got deeper into that career, I was always enamored by, not the process of finance or deals, but I loved seeing some of the entrepreneurial companies or the entrepreneurs that were actually building the companies that we were consulting for. I was like, wow, I love that. And so I had my first shot. We had a client dinner, and I got sat next to a couple of entrepreneurs here in Denver that were thinking about at the time, building what was very similar to a Pandora-like company called Exact Radio. One was a radio executive. The other was managed all the radio stations here in Colorado. And they told me their idea over dinner. I was like 23 years old. And they're like, would you do that? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you're hired. And I was like, whoa, great. And it started. And so I was the first employee at that company after that dinner. And I've never looked back at entrepreneurship since. It's just been, I get so much joy out of tackling, huge impossible problems, building really great teams that are motivated and excited to take on those challenges. And then, of course, the spoils and kind of celebrations that go along with, the wins that are part of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So, what piece of the puzzle would you say you are great at bringing to the table with all these teams that you work with and all the different avenues?
I would say, in the business I've been involved with, I've always operated with a founder mindset, and so and founders obviously have a lot of different skill sets. Having either worked for really great founders or being a founder multiple times, I would say my superpower is the ability to, really start to, build the initial team. And so, effectively identifying people and kind of creating that collaborative kind of, fabric of an awesome structure of humans to actually take on the challenge. I would say my superpower is partnerships and collaboration. So what are the sales and business development and things that need to happen to get the company going? What's, really, over the next hill, or kind of what's that vision that's, really going to allow the company to succeed. And so I've lived my entire career between, business development, product, and you really, leading teams with vision around what we can accomplish. And I've been able to partner with amazing leaders that are awesome at operations and incredible at finance and incredible, at some of the functional aspects of building a company. And so that's just where I've always found myself, and I'm really comfortable in that arena.
That's great. And I'm thinking, take Denver Startup Week for an example. How many years has that been running now? 6, 7?
We started Denver Startup Week in 2012.
Okay.
And this year will technically be our 10th program, so our 10-year anniversary.
Okay. And yeah, I'm sure that I've gone to the events several years in the past when we could actually be there physically and everything. And I attended some virtually as well, but I'm sure that has had a little bit of an impact. But the momentum you guys created so quickly on a national scale, can you describe how that came to be? It probably had a lot to do with the team, but were there certain marketing metrics? I mean, how does something like that grow nationally so quickly and get so much attention, where people, even the thought leaders you have brought in that are just mind blowing. I'm like, oh my God, right here in Denver, this is amazing. Can you just talk about that a little bit, how that was built?
I think Denver Startup Week is one of the incredible success stories of our community. And when I say our community, it's really the result of an incredible group of leaders and founders and companies and employees coming together to celebrate the awesomeness of what Denver is and what Denver can become. I always explain Denver Startup Week as like a giant bonfire. Like, for a bonfire to be big, you got to have a lot of fuel. And so we had a lot of emerging companies. We were kind of at the very beginning of the co-working craze. We had companies that are now public, like Ping Identity and SendGrid, that were leading the discussion in our startup community. We had like the initial birth of meetups and groups coming together in 2011. You had incredible civic organizations like the Downtown Denver Partnership that had strategies to like build an innovation center in the city. You had universities that were driving the dialogue and discussion around students getting involved in entrepreneurship. And you had really great leaders like Brad Feld and Phil Weiser trying to pull together the pieces to make Colorado an epicenter of innovation. And so when I look back on Startup Week, I just feel really lucky to be in the right place at the right time. And to have had the opportunity to take the initiative with an incredible group of founders. We just threw the match on all the kindling that was here. I mean, Colorado was awesome and becoming more awesome by the year.
Yeah.
And, Denver Startup Week has really been reflective of the growth of the city. And so when you look at the companies that are here now and the types of founders we've attracted and the story of Colorado over the last decade, every year Denver Startup Week puts, on high volume or kind of on stage the best of the best things that are happening in innovation and early stage growth. But that's most reflective of the people that are here. And so we've always said that Denver Startup Week is, for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs, for the future of entrepreneurs. And that's been, the coolest thing about it. I think the secret that everyone gets, sometimes a little bit misled is that as a committee, the committee produces, anywhere between 30 to 50 events a year. And we always have over 400. And so who produces the other 350 events?
Right.
It's you.
The entrepreneurs, the community.
It's the community. And so when you think about the scale of generosity of Denver Startup Week, what makes it so special is you've got, overwhelmingly, 80% of the content is produced by the community, for the community, being generous and giving to give back to the community. And then we've got this container of a bunch of leaders that have been leading the charge to make sure there's sponsorship and incredible, structure and insurance and all the things work. But, I really think as much as there's a group of us that founded Denver Startup Week, I really look at Denver Startup Week as being founded by the city of Denver and the state of Colorado. And I really look at it as an asset that I hope lives on, well into Colorado's innovation future. To really showcase the best things that are happening here every year and give founders the accolades that they need to have for building great companies in our city. Yeah,
that's such a great point. One thing I love about Denver, and you hear certain people that maybe are natives here or whatever, they don't like the growth that we've seen here. That is precisely what I love about Denver. How many people are moving here that are educated workforce? It's causing, that coupled with what you've built with all your partnerships, Denver Startup Week, Civico, all these things, it's gotten the attention of the large companies that want to be here because this is where the educated workforce is. People want to be here just because it's an awesome place. We have the back, the playground in our backyard of the mountains and everything else. The ecosystem is just on fire, and I love it. I love the energy of this place. And, we were talking about Austin just before we started recording here. It's another epicenter of just crushing it. And I think Dallas, too, to a certain extent. I haven't been there in a while, but, it's
I think when I look at all this innovation activity, I mean, the one thing that's really clear, coming out of 2020 is there's a clear migration away from major like urban centers, the San Francisco's, New York's, and Boston's, to the rest of the U.S. And I think that cities like Denver, cities like Austin, Dallas, Miami, Chicago, Kansas City, Seattle, like
Portland,
San Diego, like Salt Lake City. I think that's going to be the story of the future. I think that the cities now have the infrastructure. They've got the talent and the brain power. They've got companies that are committing there. People enjoy the lifestyle. I just think that, the San Franciscos of tomorrow are going to be among us. And I don't look at it as a zero-sum game. People are like, well, Colorado's third at this or first at this or, 10th at that or, Austin's better or Denver's better. Like, I look at all this ecosystem and kind of core innovation work as a zero-sum game. Like, the future in front of us with technology and innovation is so massive and so abundant that there's more than enough for every single city that wants to participate. And Denver just needs to carve out the piece they want to be best at. Is they want to continue building this amazing security community? Do they want to continue building this amazing aerospace community? I mean, there's lots of things here. Cannabis community. There's lots of things that are emerging in the laboratories in the state. We just need to pick the ones that we want to be the best in the world at, and then put our shoulder against it and tell everybody that it's there, and it'll be so.
Yeah. I think the story of 2020 is going to be pretty telling in how it's going to catapult us even quicker into this world of technology, causing a lot of different industries to adopt technology much quicker. What industries do you think are going to accelerate quicker than others in that regard?
Yeah, I think you're going to see, it's really fun to see the breadth of kind of, Colorado continues to be one of the leading states in terms of just general vaccine concentration. So like, we've been faster and better at vaccinating our citizens than a lot of other states. And I think it's going to assist our recovery dramatically. And so like, I look at, two pieces. I think that a lot of these things you're talking about are here to stay. Like, I don't think people are going to stop ordering groceries to their house or stop using food delivery services. I think that just becomes a mainstay. Where people are dabbling, I think it's now part of the monthly budget. I think it's just a real thing. Yeah. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity to grow there. I think the big stories coming out of some of this work is that, in the midst of the pandemic, Alex Karp decided that he was going to move one of the largest, most successful tenants and companies out of Palo Alto, Palantir. And I think Palantir to me was a signal of kind of that next stage of arrival. I was involved in trying to recruit GE. I was involved in trying to recruit Amazon too. Like, there's been a lot of these things that have kind of flown over Denver where we've came close, but we didn't land them. And for Palantir to show up as a multi-billion-dollar enterprise and kind of one of the the gorillas per se inside of the security industry. It was a seismic shift to our ability to house that type of company, two, the perception from what is one of the best of innovation economies, San Francisco, that you can grow that same thing or better in Colorado. Yeah. And three, it was a head nod to our technology economy around the concentration of talent in security. And so I'm really long on the security, community, cybersecurity, security, networking infrastructure. I think that's going to be amazing.
Oh, it's good. It's going to be more and more important as as the years go on.
And they're going to be more, there's a lot more tenants and a lot more activity happening in the city. Yeah. I also think that, I think we're just like in chapter 1 of cannabis. We're like a decade into cannabis. But like when you think about what's happening nationally and the legalization amongst lots of states that drug their feet, right? Colorado's the laboratory. Like, we were the ones that like built everything. We built
that's right.
The candies and the sodas and like all these things that are happening. We somehow were involved in building, and that's going to be a huge leg up as all these other states start to adopt it, because they're going to look to us and say, "What did Colorado do?"
Right,
and that's just going to be great for us.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of opportunities for the investors in that space here.
Huge. To
diversify and grow, and
that's not slowing down.
No, not at all.
No.
And who knows, maybe with the new regime in D.C. might actually excel quicker nationally. I don't know. Guess we'll see.
I think you could be right.
Yeah. That's great, man. Is there any technology that makes you nervous? Any innovation that makes you nervous, or you think, we should maybe slow down on that, or just for the sake of humanity? And
I think it's been incredible to see kind of two things. I think everyone talks about kind of the parity around humanity and technology into the future, and I think the advancement in robotics in the last 3 years. I don't know if you were able to see General Atlantic's most recent release of their kind of like 2020, robotics summary.
I have not seen that. I'm going to Google that now.
But effectively, I mean, you've got human designed robots that can dance like they're dancing at a wedding with perfect balance, engaging with the beat, you start to see humanity come out in technology. And we're getting the next piece of that is to embed not only the movement and the action, but to start adding cognitive elements of speech and engagement.
Right.
And so we're really close. And so I just think that makes me excited because, I'm one of the first backers of a Colorado company, Misty Robotics. I want to have a robot on my house as soon as possible to do lots of things that I think robots are really good at. It doesn't make me excited to, wherever there's great opportunity, there's great risk because, there's always the white side and the dark side of technology. And, you see the land of deep fakes and you see the land that, when you look at the social dilemma and things we're struggling with just in terms of general technology and around communication and access to knowledge, those things scare me.
Yeah.
Because, I've got young kids and I'm more interested in them having the truth than I am, having them have fancy technology. And, I think as we go forward, that just becomes more challenging. You've got whether it's deep fakes or whether it's cognitive abilities in robots or all of these things pose an arena that truth can be a new version of the truth. And that really scares me.
Artificial intelligence mixed with a robot that looks so real.
Yeah, it's just a new version of the truth. And that's, it doesn't make me comfortable. And to authenticate that at scale becomes really, really hard.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. It's something that we could easily resist and fear. Oh, at what point is AI going to overtake humans or humanity such that we won't know what or who we're interacting with? But then a friend of mine actually, these are conversations I love having with my friends, just going down a rabbit hole on something. A friend of mine said, you know what, if that is what is the next progression of humanity, then isn't it meant to be? So that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, it is. I think, we've always been able to evolve and survive over time.
Right.
And, the industries that get wiped out by new technology advances are usually, create a whole series of new industries and jobs that allow really great humans to participate in. So I think we will continue to evolve. And it does make me feel better. There's people like Elon Musk and serious technology investors in San Francisco and New York that are investing in nonprofits to garner the ethics of computing.
Right.
So it's not like the world's not thinking about, wow, this is really dangerous. Just let it run. I mean, there are really smart people thinking about how to manage the societal benefits and detriments of advanced technology. But it's, I just think at your point, it could be the evolution. It's just going to be something that we're all going to have to, really have our hands on the wheel to do right.
Right.
And it's going to, it's going to come faster than we think. Every year that I think something's a little bit further away, I'm like, wow, that's getting really close.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
exactly.
so, I get excited about that though. I look at all these things as what can be done versus what can't be done. It's just the way I'm wired. And so things like that, I get really, really excited about, having a robot in my house.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always thought that Elon and his Neuralink company that's an example of, I want to take, I want to be at the forefront of taking this part of it over and getting us there quicker. But no, after actually listening to that Joe Rogan podcast, it was almost as if he recognized that it's too late. AI is already moving quicker than we can control at this point. And his move to create Neuralink was actually a form of, I want to control this as much as possible and try to create some sort of symbiotic relationship between the two. Exactly. Yeah. So it's really interesting to hear, and just learn more about him. The guy's an alien for sure. Super intelligent. Can't believe it. That's great. Well, I want to get into what you're currently working on, and I think it's the professional services industries that have been slower to adopt technology over the last,
for sure,
10, 15, 20
you're
years.
In one. I mean,
exactly. Commercial real estate. Now there's, CRE tech,
yep.
or real estate tech.
Prop tech.
Prop tech. Insure tech is one that is on the forefront, which is what you're doing with Highwing. Highwing.io is your website. Let's jump into that. So how did you come to get into that industry and want to learn more about it and have an impact in moving that forward?
So I've always been involved in building software companies. With the exception of one business, I was always deeply kind of involved in the software development, component of the business. And so, being able to bridge that with some relationships I had here in town, Rob Cohen, who's an incredible civic leader, and more importantly, the CEO and chairman of a financial services company called IMA Financial. He and I had been discussing kind of the innovation lag in insurance for years. We got to know each other through some programs that the Denver Chamber had put together, and always found ourselves in a corner, somewhere, in some random city, discussing about how amazing insurance could be if this software existed to kind of revolutionize it. And so that all came to a boiling point, and Rob started some projects internally at IMA Financial and really started driving some innovation in the firm, and invited me in to look at what they were doing at the time, but also come back and say, he gave me an open book and said, this is where we're at. But looking at it from a software perspective, we sell insurance and service insurance and are experts at being great at client service every day. Like, we don't build software. Like, we know what the problem is, but like, what's the software solution for this work? And so that's where I came in. We spent a greater part of 6 months inside the company trying to figure out the real opportunity to advance the industry, specifically from a brokerage and carrier perspective, and we landed on Highwing. And that's really where we understood that a majority of the transactions, if not all of them, in the commercial insurance space today, they occur over email. And email's just not a platform for analytics, insight, security, tracking, reporting. It's just
efficiency,
anything. Anything.
Yeah.
And so, we said there's got to be a better way. And so that set us on a track to build Highwing. And we want to be the first open data platform to connect all the software platforms with the insurance industry to efficiently, effectively transact commercial insurance.
Okay. So high level, how many of the, what sides of the industry is it servicing, making lives easier? And how are all the parties communicating using Highwing?
Yeah. So looking at some of the prop tech corollaries, like when you think about trying to think, like .loop is probably, if you're familiar with that business in the real estate space.
LoopNet.
LoopNet. Yeah. .loop was more on the residential side.
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah.
And they really built the workflow and transaction platform for residential real estate.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to buy a home, they said, great, here's the template applications, here's the data that we're going to inject the applications with, here's the quick checks I'm going to put against title and against the purchaser and the seller, and we're going to really efficiently, over a mobile app, start to be able to take something that was a bunch of 11 by 17 paper and then boil it down into something that happens really quickly.
Yeah.
And same thing's happening in insurance. And so we looked at the insurance process, especially, and again, just to kind of give context to where we exist in the world of insurance, is like, when you say insurance, it's like the most massive word in business.
Yeah.
Is it healthcare benefits?
It could mean so much.
Is it life insurance? Is it small commercial insurance? Is it my auto, policy? Is it my business? Insurance is just a massive, massive word. The world that we play inside this massive landscape, is middle market and large commercial insurance. So kind of the core, 5 lines of property and casualty business insurance. And we specifically cater to companies that spend, over $25,000 a year in insurance annually. So, by putting us in that segment, obviously we cater to larger companies, usually have, tens if not hundreds of employees, tens if not hundreds of millions of revenue. And they're the big businesses here in the United States. And so the biggest thing we realized was that, all these transactions were paper, they were all over email, and they all took a long time to do.
Right.
And we said, let's start to bring together the transaction systems, with the client level data, with the policy level data, with better communications with the carriers. If we can stitch that together all through one platform, all of a sudden we can start to control the speed, the efficiency, and the transaction itself. And that's what we've been building for the last 2 years. We're early on. We think we've got something that could be really powerful to change the insurance industry. But most importantly, we're a product-driven and centered company. So as long as we're solving problems for our current users, we're making progress.
Yeah. Is there a certain revenue threshold or employee count, or what's the threshold that you say, yeah, that's a company that our service could be beneficial to?
Yeah, the biggest transition point, what I would say, between small commercial and middle market insurance is when you start to develop kind of a term in the insurance industry is either program design or program architecture around your full risk management portfolio. So those are a bunch of really big words that mean, like, if I have multiple insurance policies to cover the entire landscape of my exposures at risk, those policies are working in tandem to be able to cover different elements of my risk landscape, and the sum of them makes my business safe. My risk is covered, and my premium is the lowest possible value for the combination of policies that I have. When you get to that level of assembly, that's really where the middle market begins. I think when you look below that, like you just take like a yoga studio in Cherry Creek, you probably have 10 employees. You need a work comp policy. You might need a general liability policy. You probably need an umbrella in case someone slips on some ice. You maybe have a property policy but you might have leased it, so you probably don't have a prop policy.
Right.
So like the complexity of insurance in a small business is
not as
significantly less.
Right.
But when you start running multi-million-dollar enterprises, there's an insurance policy for all components of the business.
Yeah.
So that's really where we excel when there's multiple lines of cover, really covering the entire risk landscape inside of a company.
Yeah. Okay. Are there? By the way, are you in beta phase right now? Is it a live product? Is it?
We launched our product, really closely in the fall of 2018. We launched our alpha, some test product with our early clients. In 2019, we kind of had our first transaction platform constructed.
Great.
In 2020, we advanced that traction. What we're calling kind of our e-submit to our placement engine. So now we've got a much fancier version of connecting brokers and carriers and being able to transact insurance. And as we go into 2021, you're really starting to not only deal with brokers and carriers, but figuring out, like, how can we accelerate the transactions between the broker and the insured? So in your world, like if you're sending, a tenant, information, how do I make that as seamless as possible using digital tools? So, we're just cruising to get into a lease,
exactly.
using digital tools versus old school paper.
Yeah. It's funny, in the real estate world, it seems like the residential market adopted technology a long time ago. It's the commercial side that has continued to work a little more archaically. But as you mentioned, prop tech is there's a lot of attention in that industry as well. Even legal is adopting a lot of technology. So it seems like you guys have moved very fast.
Yeah, I think commercial real estate and business insurance, large commercial insurance, have a lot of corollary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you look at small commercial and personal lines insurance, that's where all the innovation's been. So I would liken that to residential real estate. So massive market. Everyone needs an insurance policy for their home or auto. And, there's 100 different places you can get that policy. And it's relatively simple to underwrite, and there's no knowledge of the transaction. When you get into the more complex, larger business, all of a sudden you graduate into larger partners. Certain markets, actual write that risk. Certain businesses only need to, have that cover.
Yeah.
And I look at the same as commercial real estate. Like when you look at, and there's fewer players. So there's fewer brokers, there's fewer banks, there's fewer everything.
Exactly, yeah.
And so I think in the preservation of those really big pillars of industry, whether it was the transaction platform or in real estate like CoStar or LoopNet, like there were those things that were kind of like sacred cows in the world of the industry. Same is true in large insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why change when we're making a lot of money? We can get the job done. Everyone's still either moving into an office space or, they're getting an insurance policy. What's my motivation like right now to change what I'm doing when I'm doing great?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, and so I think it's the residential real estate. And now I'm just even talking the residential real estate market and the small commercial insurance market, they're identical. All of the innovation, one-to-one. Let's give people the power to choose. Everyone can figure out how they want to buy a house or buy an insurance policy. That's going to graduate up into the big stuff, and that's where we are.
Gotcha. Wow. So talk more about, you were mentioning a little bit of the struggle that, you're interjecting this new technology into a space that this does not exist. You're having to educate a market a market of people that are not used to something like this. Talk more about the challenges of that, and like what hurdles have you discovered as you've gotten into this that you've had to overcome, and how are you doing that?
I think the biggest opportunity in the insurance market is to meet those who are, especially in our world, who are transacting insurance where they are. I think it's so easy to wave the flag of innovation and wave the flag of insurtech and be like, oh my gosh, you're not using that. Like, you're so old school. Or
right.
Like,
yeah.
and all that does is hurts feelings, slows down the process, and makes people feel like they're not part of the revolution. The approach we've taken at Highwing is, everyone's on their own. Like, I look at it like fitness. Everyone's on their own path. Some brokerage firms, they're super fit. They're on a great diet. They've got it dialed. They know they're disciplined. They look fantastic. Others are working on it, and they know that they need to be fit. They know that they need to figure out how data's inspirational and embedded in their business, but they're on a path. And so the job and challenge that I think that we face every day is like, let's meet a bunch of different firms who are all in the same line of business that are at very different chapters of adopting technology, and let's be able to communicate them all at their own level, their own time, in their own space, to bring them along in the ride. And so, it's forced us to hire really empathetic, leaders in our company, those who understand insurance, but those who, more importantly, understand the trade and can be empathetic to, like, wow, totally get it. Let us help. You're not doing it wrong. You're doing it 100% right. There might be a better way.
Have you considered this?
Yeah. Versus like, oh my gosh, the world is on fire, and if you don't use this,
you're being left behind.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think that's the key. And we're long term in this. I mean, this, like, insurance is a long term industry. It's been around for hundreds of years. It's one of the oldest industries in the United States, and it's going to be around for hundreds more. And so while we're in this chapter of really accelerating the innovation, we want to empathetically bring along those who want to participate, and those who want to compete at the next level. We want to give them tools to do it, and just help them get there. And I think that's really the game. I mean, collaboration, understanding where they're at in the process, and then being able to provide solutions that level them up. Those are the companies that'll win.
Yeah. Are there particular industries that have been quicker to adopt the use of your platform, or any industries that you guys are specifically targeting? Because
it's interesting you asked that. So when you look at the core kind of 5 lines of property and casualty within general liability, you start to see some emerging lines that are becoming 100% digital out of the gates. So the old, like, for as long as insurance has existed, aka property insurance, general liability insurance, as long as we've had workers compensation insurance, like the bread and butters of the casualty market, property and casualty market, those have been slower to change. The emerging policies like cyber coverage, you're seeing companies built that are specifically only writing that specialty kind of insurance.
Yeah.
They're 100% digital. They're built with API integrations. They're doing all their analysis and risk analysis using, artificial intelligence and machine learning tools to analyze the risk.
Data, right?
Yeah, it's so
more data driven.
Yeah, so
right.
you're seeing some of these emerging lines of cover be the most innovative, but they're only doing it just for that. So those companies are not writing a lot of the traditional core lines. They're just laser focused and being the best at that. And so I think that's where it's headed, but that's where we're seeing the innovation.
Okay. Yeah, and that's massively growing industry, so that's good. Cool. Well, again, highwing.io is the website. What's the best way for any company anyone listening and they want to learn more, and they're going through a transition, maybe they're moving the location, buying a building, growing their team, whatever, what's the best way for them to find out more info?
Yeah, absolutely. So easiest place to find me and our team is at www.highwing.io. And anybody who's interested just in general as it relates to the Colorado tech ecosystem, becoming more familiar with things here in Colorado, understanding the awesome things and the things they need to consider as they're getting ready to put their landing gear, their landing pad down. You can always find me at mitisek.com. easy place to connect. And, I try to spend as much time as helping, folks get situated here as possible. So excited to connect with anybody that's considering making Colorado their home.
Cool. Mitisek.com, and you have links to your LinkedIn and all that stuff.
Easy to find.
Yeah, very cool. So I like to wrap these with, getting listeners can get to know you more on a personal level. So just kind of rapid fire questions. Has there been any books that have been really impactful to you as you've, grown in your career?
Most impactful book. I would say, my business partner in Civico, Ryan Heckman, just gave me The Prophet by Gilbran, which is, one of the, I would say, oldest standing kind of steady philosophical, poetic, books on business and life and philosophy. And it always anchors me. I'd read it when I was in college. It'd come across my desk a couple times in my career. It's re-entered my life recently from as a gift from him, and it's just one of those things I think anchors you in a lot of the core areas of your life that just gives you deep perspective on not only morality, but the impact we can have while we're all here.
Wow, yeah, I'll have to check that out. I've heard of that book, but I've never read it. How about people? Anyone that's been really impactful on you as an individual? Who you are today, like who you strive to be?
Yeah, I was raised by incredible parents, but I had the good fortune of when I was in undergrad, living over here in Denver, and I had a grandfather that was just an epic force in my life. I think not only gave me perspective of the School of Hard Knocks. He didn't graduate from high school, and he's retired from RTD as a bus driver, and so he always had this running and gunning kind of entrepreneurial view on life of how to make a dollar, but was always incredibly generous to his family and those he interacted with.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up right by Casa Bonita. I'd spend my afternoons after school kibitzing with the 60 and 70-year-olds at Winchell's Coffee House, drinking chocolate milk and sprinkled donuts. And
how old are you at this age? At this time?
4 to 6,
oh,
4
wow.
to 7.
Yeah.
And then being alive with my grandfather when I came back over for undergrad, and being able to sit in the garage and at his house and have cocktails and talk about life. Like, I think about those moments, and I think about who I am today. And there's a tremendous amount of his principles in my daily activity. And I just think it is kind of a head nod to the power of parenting, the power of grandparenting, and it makes me want to just be the best dad I can be, because I just think even when folks aren't watching or your kids aren't watching, they are, and you never know what they're going to grow up to become.
Yeah, that's very cool. The way you described your grandfather is like how everyone sees you, I think. So that's definitely how I see you. So
I appreciate that. He was an amazing man.
That's cool. So you're a native of Colorado?
Born, raised, never left.
Wow.
Called
Casa
Denver
Bonita.
home. Grew up in the. I was born in Wheat Ridge at Lutheran Hospital. I grew up in Fruita, Colorado, outside of Grand Junction, and then came back here, went to school at DU, and then have never left Denver. And so,
Wow.
I've only filed my taxes or gone to hospitals here, and I plan to rest here too. So I love this place.
That's great. That's cool. Yeah, I've been here 20 years, but definitely not a native, unfortunately. Love this place too.
Well, the Colorado-ish counts. Yeah, so
Colorado-ish.
Colorado-ish counts. It counts, especially those who love it. So
yeah.
It counts. It counts.
So what do you spend outside of work? And I'm sure you really, really value your time with your family when you're not working, because you work a ton. What do you do outside of all that? How do you just shake loose and relax? And what are your kind of your hobbies outside of that?
Yeah, I'd say one of my favorite things outside of kind of the civic activities I do, and of course being at home, I've got an incredible group of business leaders that we came together in 2011. A group called the Goodwood Club, and there's 8 of us that all kind of decided back in 2011 that we wanted to be better fathers, better friends, better professionally, and we wanted to have a lasting impact on Denver. And I'd say some of the work we've done, both in the community has been impactful, but more importantly, those 7 guys mean the world to me. And whenever I get a chance to be on the phone or grab a cocktail or just laugh over a glass of whiskey with them, it's good living.
Oh yeah, I know several of them very well.
They're
It's not too hard to get them out for
they're
cocktails.
the best of the best.
No.
They
They really are.
They
They
are
are.
the best.
I
Of the
love
best.
all those guys.
The best of the best.
Incredible. Love all you guys, I should say.
I appreciate
I go
that.
to that luncheon every year and never miss it, or at least I
Thank you.
try not to.
Yeah, thank you. Well, hopefully we can have it again this year.
I know.
It was devastating for us in 2020 that we weren't able to get 200 of our closest friends together for a fundraiser over steak and wine and an afternoon of kibitzing before the holidays. But we'll do it this year.
Yeah. Yes. Fingers are crossed for sure. So you already answered earlier what your superpower is. So I'm going to ask you instead to wrap this. What are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of my sons and my daughter. Like it's amazing. I think I think starting companies is always incredible. Building organizations is always incredible. But the power of human life and the power of crafting it together with another human. I've been blessed to have an incredible wife, and every day my sons and my daughter just kind of like take me back of like, wow, that's incredible. Whether it's something they've learned or something they're showing me or something they've done or some baseball my son hits out into the outfield, like whatever it is, I just kind of am in this like constant state of awe as they're growing up. And I've got a lot of great friends and mentors, and I think that have always from an early day have instilled in me like those moments evaporate. Like your kids are in your house for 18 years, but really about 12.
Feels like a blip.
Really
Yeah.
about 12, and in those 12 years, you've got time to show up or time to be out. And I think I've been blessed with being able to watch them by showing up, and I look up to them every day.
That's great. Yeah, to see the joy in their eyes when they're wanting to show you something or whatever. It's got to be it's incredible feeling.
Life's greatest gift.
That's cool, man. Well, again, thank you so much. This is an awesome conversation. Great to get to know you better.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for the listeners, again, Mitisek.com. Check it out. Get connected with Erik. You will be inspired, I guarantee it. And if you want to find out more about Highwing, the website is highwing.io. Again, thank you very much, and I look forward to continuing this conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much, and really appreciate all the work you're doing, bringing together awesome leaders, talking about Denver. Most importantly, letting everybody that's taking a look at hopefully moving here, just how awesome, diverse, and inclusive this place is. So I appreciate you a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.